So let's begin our day with our lesson number 5, which is subqueries. In this, we'll be having two topics, non-correlated subqueries and inline views. So what is non-correlated subqueries, or what are subqueries itself? That will be understanding. So very first is understanding what subqueries are. And there are types of subqueries, okay? So objectives is will define ProcSQL subqueries and will differentiate between correlated and non-correlated subqueries. Subset database on values returned from subqueries. So one of the important topics with respect to your interviews where you will have questions on inline views and subqueries. All right. So what is the scenario here now? HR and payroll managers requested a report that displays job title for job groups with an average salary greater than the average salary of the company as a whole. So what they require is they need a report to be generated on the employees overall for all your organizations whose mean salary exceeds the company's overall salary. Understood the point? This is the average salaries for some of the job titles. We have to find out which job titles or how many employees earn more than the overall company's average salaries. Fine. So we are going to work on data staff. So before working it, let me show you what they just are trying to tell. Now we are having SQL code to be written where we'll be selecting. We want to calculate mean of your salary column, which you will be giving the alias as average salary. Okay. Now this we are going to work on a data which is called as Orion salary or staff. So before it, let's look into your staff data. So within your Orion library, so this is where we have a library. Let's check for data set staff.
Ashwini.
So in this table, you will find the columns are employee ID, start date, end date, job title, salary. So this is the salary. So on this salary, first we'll calculate overall for all the employees, that is company's average salary. And that's what I'm writing here. So I'm selecting only one column, which is my
Ashwini,
summarized
I,
column. Yes.
I have one question here. In proc SQL, we'll use average na, instead of mean. Both will
Let's
work,
see.
but yeah, but
Let's see. That's why I use this. I was writing average, but I said let's see how it is working. If no, then we'll use average. Okay. I just wanted to show you if in case means work. Okay.
okay.
So Orion dot staff and quit. Let's see if average is calculated with means. Okay. I'm aware. Yes. So this is what the average is. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So do we have any errors, notes? No. So let us copy this and check whether it's creating the same output with, sorry, same output with average as a function. Okay, let's see. First query result is with mean and the second query result is with AVG, which is average. So it's the same value.
Yeah.
All right. So this is SAS enhancement. This is overall SQL coding. Okay. Core SQL average function. Fine. So we have to find out that out of your company's overall average salaries, we have to find out people. So I'll be writing another SQL query where I'll write select. Okay.
Okay. We have to calculate a company's overall salary, average salary. Hmm.
So what it was telling, HR and payroll managers requested a report that displays job title for job groups, okay, with an average salary greater than the average salary for the company as a whole. So as per our code, we are calculating average salaries by grouping your job title, and within that we have to see which are the average salaries of the group title which exists or exits your company's average salary. Are you getting it now? Is this query clear?
Hmm.
Not taking group by. Okay.
Distinct we can use.
No, one sec. We have to write group by, and instead of this here, we will be having
Okay.
your
Oh, that's why I was
AVG.
confused. Like,
Yeah, AVG salary
Good.
is greater than your company's overall salary. Fine.
Hmm.
Let's check. So these are the people with the job titles whose average salary is exiting your company's overall average salary. See, all these people see the average salaries.
Hmm.
Okay.
okay.
So in case we can also use distinct for this.
It's
And
like,
this are all, yeah, is this, these are all distinct values and they are all exiting your company's average salaries. See, so what we have done, that we have calculated this average salary separately by writing a separate query. And then we copied that and we pasted here. So is it always feasible for us to do this?
We
no,
can give both two select options also, na, in
But
one.
that will give you a different result, right? How you will be selecting this? This is actually the value which is coming from this query.
yeah,
But if you want to write a separate query, then you will have to again write this like this.
Hmm.
You are very close to your whatever logical thinking you are thinking. It's appropriate. But then this result is coming here.
Yeah.
can we do a same thing like average in bracket salary is greater than average
So that's what you are pretty much close. So what we'll be doing is
instead of
we'll be
putting
writing the same thing as a subquery. So put this as a subquery.
Hmm. Subquery in
Getting it
brackets.
now?
Okay.
Got it? And
Okay.
this becomes your
oh,
subquery, where your inner query is passing the value to your outer query. And hence it's called as a subquery. Getting it?
Okay. So instead of that value, because we don't know the value, so we are.
Absolutely, we do not know the value. So instead of writing a separate query, taking that value and pasting here, why don't we create that value from a query itself?
Okay.
Understood now?
Yeah.
Hence, this is called as a subquery, and a subquery is always written with your having clause
And it in parentheses.
within parenthesis. All right. So let's see if it's giving us the same result. Correct?
Yeah,
Is it
actually,
giving us the yes?
yeah. So yeah, in the code, so here we are using average salary here in the code in select, and average salary above also. So it will not what will it will not replace each other, right? Or it will be the same.
It won't replace because this is an independent query written to subset your data, and it's for overall company. This is only within your job title. That's why you're using group by.
Okay. Okay.
All right, understood?
Yeah.
So let's see the same thing here. So step one, as per this, we want to see create a report that displays job title for group job groups with an average salary greater than the average salary of the company. So this was we wanted. So for that we have to work with two steps. First step is calculate the company's average salary. This is what we did. So we got this average salary, correct? Then ideally
What was
we
that?
are
Can you show me again? Can you go back? Progress as company mean salary. Okay. Okay, name. Okay.
Name
Got
it
it.
is name
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Yeah.
and the same thing what we had done, job title, average salary as mean salary for that job title, you are grouping it and having the mean salary greater than your company salary, which you have calculated separately. So these are the job titles who are getting overall their average salary for this job title is greater than your company's total salary, which is average total salary. Are you getting it?
Yeah.
Correct? So the scenario is they're telling the same thing, that write the program as a single step using a subquery. A subquery is a query that resides within an outer query. So this select becomes your outer query, and the query which was resulting the value of your average salary of a company, you write in having clause which is acting as a inner query, or you called it as a subquery. So your subquery must be resolved before the outer query can get resolved. That is why your subquery will result first. It will give you this value, and then this value is available for your outer query to subset your data. Understood? That is
Mm.
what it was telling. Hence, this is how it's telling you that subqueries are always, it returns values to be used in outer queries. Either you can use it in your where or having clause to subset your values. Getting it? So this is how you are writing. So within your subquery also you can subset your data by using where, and it's always as a part of subsetting with having clause or with your where clause. All right.
Mm.
It's telling must return only a single column. You are going to analyze or going to query your select clause, which is acting as a subquery only to query a single column. It is not recommended to write a subquery as your outer query with multiple columns. So subqueries always query single column at a time. And it can return with and your subquery will always return either a single row or multiple rows. Always make a note. Subqueries are always written with where or having clause. It can query only single column, but result of this subquery can be either single row or multiple rows. So in our example, it is returning single row because we have the
Average.
instructions in such a way which was average salary. Correct,
Mm.
Pragati?
Yes, Ashwini. Got it.
All right. So moving ahead. So you have a question. If the following select statement is the following select statement of your select clause valid as a subquery?
No.
Why?
So
Select
there are
employee ID
two
and
common,
two columns.
two columns are there,
Absolutely. You
employee
are
ID.
querying two columns, so it is invalid.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is invalid. So subqueries must return only values in single column, or
Mm.
you should query a single column in a subquery, not multiple columns. So there are two types of subqueries. One is called non-correlated subquery and second is called correlated subquery. So why it is called non-correlated? It's because this query as a result is resulting its output, and it executes and returns its value to your outer query. So this query, inner query, is not at all dependent on outer query, hence it's called as non-correlated subquery. Getting it? So this subquery is not at all dependent on outer query.
Mm.
Hence, your subquery is this, in this case, is called as non-correlated subquery. So it is self-contained query. It executes independently out of your outer query. And your outer query is actually dependent on your inner query, because until and unless this is not executed, it will not pass on the value for your outer query to subset your values. Understood now,
Yeah.
Yes.
Pragati?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so it is a alone, therefore it is independent, and therefore it is called its non-correlated subquery. Why non-correlated? Because it is not at all dependent on this outer query.
Yeah. If we change any column, any there, it will not affect this one.
Yes, absolutely. Whereas the second type of query or subquery, you call it as correlated subquery. Why it is called correlated? Because until and unless your outer query is not executed, your inner query will not work. Hence, the inner query is dependent on the values from outer query. Hence, your subquery is called as correlated subquery. Look at here. Look at the query carefully. You are querying ID average salary from address. You are telling where AU equal to, and the country values or the column which coming from this table. So your AU value is passed on for your inner query. Hence, this is dependent on your outer query. It's called as correlated subquery. So
Okay.
this query is not standalone. It needs additional information from your outer query. So where AU equal to. So ideally we write what? Country is equal to AU, correct? But here it's written AU equal to, and you're selecting country from work.supervisor, where you are telling address.id is similar with supervisors.id. So you're selecting only the values from countries from these two tables where the IDs are common. So only those country values or those country values will be provided. So this value is true or false is depending, so for this query is dependent on this AU. All right, so this is how it looks. All fine?
Yeah.
This work dot supervisors, that supervisor, it is already there, this table, or in our work library, or we have to
No,
create.
no, work library is a temporary
We
library. They have
created, right? It's a
created,
Yeah,
word
yeah.
dot. Yeah.
yeah.
So it's a created. So we'll see how it is created. Either
Yeah.
it is maybe a sorted table, or they might have selected only supervisors, because from your employee data, you have the job titles called supervisor. So they might have created the table only for supervisors.
Yeah, because that's what I was, because in this syntax we are not creating any supervisor, so we are
No,
taking
no,
if
yeah.
it's there, yeah.
Yes, so it's understood that it's maybe a created table supervisor, okay, from your maybe any table where you have subsetted the job titles for only supervisors.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Is
Okay.
there any activity or something?
Yeah, one sec. So a correlated subquery requires a value or values to be passed to it by the main or outer query before it can be successfully resolved. So this is already, it's not going to execute until your main query is passing this value to your inner query. Hence, it's called as a correlated subquery. All right. So see, look at this example now. Non-correlated subquery, it's evaluated first and it pass on the values to your outer query like this, and hence this outer query is dependent on your subquery. Correct? So the question here is, can a subquery contain a subquery? What do you think?
Yes.
Obviously, you can use or you can write a subquery within a subquery as well. So this is one of the example. So see, simple max date from order fact. Order date is great is less than 1st Jan 2010 and customer ID in. So customer ID in. So this is going to select all the customers to pass on to the outer query. So it becomes a non-correlated query, but where customer ID is equal to the values are coming from this query. So you can write a query within a query as well. All right. Look at the syntax. Your query within is not having any semicolon. Nor here, nor here. The semicolon comes only outside your main query. All right. Very important point. So before moving here, you can work on this demonstration D03, D02. All right. So what I'll do is I'll just create this data set for supervisors. You work on demonstration D02 and D03.
Okay. D02 and D03, Ashwini, right?
Yes.
Okay. Um, so
Yes,
Ashwini, in
yes,
second
yes.
coding, like in D03, there is a
Hmm.
correlation between three data sets, right?
Hmm.
Customer, customer data set, customer type, where customer underscore, no, sorry, customer underscore type is there one data set, and order underscore fact.
Okay,
So there are three data sets which is correlated to each other, and that's why we can do subquery in between,
absolutely correct.
right?
Absolutely correct. Yes. You have customer ID type. So they do have in common columns.
Yeah, I open all these three: customers,
Yes,
customer underscore type. Okay,
correct.
got
Yes.
it. Okay, done from my side.
All right, I was just looking for supervisor where there is no column or value called supervisor in job title. So I worked with sales data, but that does not contains any country column. So the subquery which I was trying to work with the correlated, it's not working, but just understand that this value is passed on to your inner query. Hence, this is called as correlated subquery. Rest your demonstrations have been done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see with your next scenario. Now understand this scenario. It's telling CEO sends a birthday card to each employee having a birthday in the current month. Create a report listing the names, cities, and countries of employees with February birth dates. That means whoever are the employees who are working currently with the organization whose birthdays is coming in upcoming month, maybe it's February. So the particular CEO wants to send a birthday card for those people whose birthday is approaching in the month of February. So these are the people with their name and the cities whose birthdays are coming in the month of February. Okay, so this is required. So for that, they are telling your payroll table will give you the information for their address, that is city and or even ID and birth date, correct payroll, whereas address will give you the information of ID, name, city, and country, which is required. We need name and city. Of course, this is coming from your address table, but your birth dates will be coming from payroll table. So ID is common, correct? Name is coming from address, birth dates is coming from this. So you are going to select all the list of people whose birth dates is in the month of Feb. And from this table, you are going to select those people whose IDs are common with this IDs with name, city, and country. Are you getting it now?
Yes.
Okay, so this is passing on the values of the month for this to select those employees, or this people are going to be selected from your payroll with the month, a birth date coming in the month of February. So this is what it's telling you. ID in. So which type of core this subquery it becomes? See, your address becomes your outer query.
Ah,
Payroll is your inner
inner
query,
query. Yes.
where it is subsetting all the birth dates in the month of February. And this will be the IDs which will return multiple values which will pass on to your outer query.
So outer query is depend on inner
Correlated.
query.
Yeah,
So it
correlated.
is correlated subquery.
Hmm.
Correct?
Yeah.
So this is what it's telling. Your inner query will resolve first. So it will select all the people whose birth dates are approaching in the month of February. So evaluate the inner query and create the list of values. So it will return multiple rows, but it's querying only single column. So multiple rows, and it will look like this, where ID in, and this all IDs are coming
Hmm.
for which whose name, city, and country is coming from address. Correct? So this is how it works, and you get the output. So see, step
Non-correlated.
2, it passes the values to the outer query for use in its where clause. So see, this subquery is written in your where clause. So either which ways, you always write a subquery either in your where clause or having clause, where it is subsetting your rows, right?
Hmm.
These are the people who's having their birth dates in the month of February. These are their name, city, and country where they reside. Okay, so open this activity, change the in operator to an equal to sign in the code, run the changed program, and review your log for the message. Activity A01 for lesson 5.
Getting error, Ashwini, that when I
What
change
error?
the equal to sign,
Right.
it's saying like subquery evaluated to more than one row.
Absolutely. Equal to sign is given only when you are returning with single value, but this query is returning multiple values. Hence, you require in operator, correct? So what happens when you change the comparison operator to a single sign? So this is what it's telling. Multiple rows are returned in your outer, in your, or you get an error message, correct? So you get an error message. So it's telling subquery evaluated to more than one rows. Obviously, it's in operator, where in operator works on multiple values. Equal to is only to subset with single value. Are you getting it now?
Okay.
Change it to in operator now and check.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, it's
getting
getting the
results.
result.
Yeah,
Yeah.
proc result I'm getting.
So this is what it's telling. When a subquery returns multiple values from the equal operator and the equal operator is used, an error message is generated. So they are just introducing to you that in case you are confused whether it will return a single value or multiple value, you are not aware. So either which ways you can use this operator in, or there are keywords called any or all. So if the subquery returns multiple values, you must use in operator or a comparison operator with equal to sign. You can also make use of any or all. So in case you are not aware, you write equal to, but see to it, you write keywords any with equal to or all. And how it works, let's see. So see, equal to any. So this indicates individual value like this, or. If you
Mm.
write greater than any, so it's all like greater than 20. And if you write less than any, it's less than the highest value from your query resulting. Fine.
Mm.
So try it out with equal to any now. Instead of writing in, let your equal to sign be and write any and see whether it's working.
Yeah, it's working.
Now, now try it out with greater than any and write less than any.
Mm. Yeah, working. Both are working.
Both are working. Pragati?
Yes, yes, I was in mute. Yes, it's working. I
Great.
tried 3.
Okay, great. So this is what you can always make use of. Either in operator, you are not confident enough how many rows or values. So it's better to write equal to any.
Okay.
Understood now?
Yes.
So it's just an enhancement or some extra knowledge which you can always make use of for your queries. All right. So moving back, yes. So this was all. Okay, so all expression is true if it is true for all the values returned by your subquery. If the values are 20, 30, 40 represents the value returned from your query. All right. Okay, so now let's understand the next scenario. The scenario here is telling sales executive asked the following. So before working on this scenario, before this activity, you had this demo. Work on this D04.
Okay.
Ashwini, you just showed that all operator.
Yes.
So I was trying the same all operator in the previous we were doing.
Uh-huh.
So all is not working.
So did you try with greater than all and less than all?
Is equal to all I tried.
No,
Just
it's not is equal to, it's greater than or less than. If you have seen this slide, it's the syntax coming with greater than or less than.
yeah. So
It's
greater than
any, sorry, this is any. And for all also, it's the same thing.
yeah. So greater than I tried. So it just 5 or 6.
Okay. So it means all with all the end values.
But it's giving me 7 or 8 rows only.
Okay. And
Not
less than?
less than
So
also
the,
5.
okay,
You know
fine,
what you
fine.
used? I used greater than any. So is it
Not
working?
any, not any. I'm any
She's
with
talking
10.
about all.
Okay.
So what all is doing? All expression is true if it is true for all the values returned by the subquery.
And it should take all, because we are not giving any 20, 30, 40, something like that. It should take all the all, na?
All
But,
employee IDs.
yeah, but it's not taking all.
Okay. So the logic may be,
Did you tried all? Sorry, is equal to all?
Is equal to all will not take. It will give you error.
let's try greater than all.
Yeah, 5 or 6 names are coming.
Okay. And earlier, how much you was getting with in
Maybe
operator?
20 or something.
Okay.
Don't know
So
what happened.
maybe, so with all what is doing, it's comparing this IDs values with this ID values, which is from, but this IDs are all greater than all. Okay, so because it's greater than, the IDs are comparing, maybe. Okay, because here it was giving us the values, correct? Where it went. Yeah. Okay, fine. So you can work out this with some values when it's returning values. Okay, we'll try it out later on. Or whenever you will be practicing, just check how all works when it is working with some values to be written with single column. Okay, now let's check this scenario. The scenario sales executive asks the following. Do any level 4 sales representative have a salary that is lower than any of your lower level sales representative? Understand, the senior sales executive asks the following. Do any level 4 sales representatives has the salary that is lower than any of the lower level sales representative? That means the sales representative level 4 is earning greater than those with sales representative 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's what it's telling, even if he's earning greater than the sales manager. So do any sales 4 representative have salary that is lower than the lower sales representative? So this is what they're expecting. So see any how it's working. Sales representative 4 and salary is less than any of the salaries of Orion dot staff where job title in this and this. See here you have same table. Same table can be used in a subquery also. So we want to find lower salaries, which this sales representative is earning from any of this. So these are all the people who are earning less salaries. So 4 represent who earn less than any lower salaries. Okay. So open this demo and check it out. So not necessary every time your subquery code or your subquery table and your outer query table will work always on different tables. So this is how you can see the one of the example.
Okay, it's working with same table.
Done?
Yes, yes, I'm trying to understand the second one. They gave three options, like multiple options they gave. Equivalent code written with joint syntax.
Okay, so let's see this demo. 305.
Three ways we can do it there.
Yes, so this is with less than any they have
Mhm.
given. Then equivalent code written with join syntax. So it's with join. The same thing they are doing it. So instead of writing a subquery and you are writing any, if you want the same thing, you can always write multiple join, or this is how self join. That is what they're just telling, an equivalent code to above. So you can use self join on the same tuple. So this becomes as S1 and S2, and you're asking it to join where you are telling job title is this and salary is less than your S2 dot salary, and selecting only this values. Very simple code. Correct?
Yeah.
Meena?
We just need practice to remember all these codes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ashwini,
So
but I was checking equivalent code written with join syntax. So in my code, something different was written. So I was just checking.
join syntax means is the same thing, right? Do you want this code? I will give you.
No, are you getting a different result, Mina?
No, she was telling about the syntax. It's like self join, Meena, which we have learned yesterday.
Yeah, understood. That understood. But I
Yeah,
was having that maximum statistics.
I gave you the code. You can use it and check that code.
Yeah. Done, Ashwini.
All right. So this was all about subqueries. So let's have one exercise done on this. So come to your lesson 5 exercise. Yes, page 5-18, using a non-correlated subquery. Level 1, exercise number 1. So its order fact table contains information about orders that were placed by customers. Create a report it that lists the retail customers whose average retail price exceeds the company's average retail. So it's the same example as we have with our demo. So here is the sale, and we have to, and there in demo we were calculating average salary. Same thing, go ahead and work on it. So you have to be careful here when you are writing a subquery for your this value or this column, because if you write mean price, it's actually for your outer query. So your outer query is dependent on your inner query, right?
Yeah.
So then it's better to give this column as it is.
Okay.
All right, so let's move ahead. Check with your time, okay? So is it fine to move ahead or it's fine to stop?
I think we can stop.
We can stop our day, and let's next time we'll start with inline views. Okay, so we'll understand what inline views are and how it works, how it is a bit different than your subqueries, and why it's called as inline views. All right,
Okay.
any doubts, any queries for today?
No.
No. All right, so I would request you to revise your topics on this weekend, and any doubts, please be free to ask me. All right, so we'll stop our day. Wish you a good day ahead and thanks for attending our day. Bye and take care.
Thank you.
Actually,
Bye.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.